And I've said this many times before, we do not politicize the Department of Justice. That is something that the president said during the campaign. That is something that the president said in his early days of being in the White House, and that continues to be.
Because the job is hard. The job is hard. And it's hard not just for me, but for all of my colleagues. It's a difficult job, what we're trying to do on behalf of the American people.
How did she get that job? She's so bad at convincing people.
All right, we can end this briefing if it's not going to be respectful here. Chris.
That's what I'm saying. You're receiving an African leader and you don't take questions.
Thanks, everybody.
A question about gas prices.
Thanks, everybody.
Can we do one about all the gas prices?
There's a bunch of hardcore, ideologically driven, left-wing pundits that are on YouTube that could do a way better job. And they would be psycho about it. They would be psycho about it, and the left would be like, like, she's not the one. Like, she's terrible.
Yes, I'm going to play the video so you can see exactly what is going on. I did a video about this lady one day ago. Something recently happened. The Biden press secretary has gained a reputation for reciting rehearsed response directly from her Spira notebook during routine briefings. Karine was hired primarily for her sexual orientations, for her race, and for her gender. This was clearly a job that was awarded not based on performance, but based on merit. That is something we all know. Fox News did a segment where they actually pinpoint what we all know. And this is the cause of the coup. We recently saw that they are trying to remove her. It is now clear that she will be fired.
Primetime predicted there'd be a White House podium pickle nearly 2 years ago. Pierre has only been at this job for a month or so, and everybody already knows she'll be replaced. Biden tapped a deer in the headlights to speak for his White House. She holds her 48-inch thick binder like a baby holds a blanket. No one has ever seen Pierre without it. If you take away her binder, she'll probably cry. Once in a while, Waters is right. Today, the New York Post found out Biden's senior staff's trying to close the book on Binder because of her binder. Sources say she's not quick enough, reads from her binder word for word, and doesn't make compelling cases to re-elect the big guy. What do you think?
In Las Vegas, he told a story about recently talking to a French president who died in 1996.
I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole with you, sir.
What?
So the board has never convened. It never convened, and the board is yes, the board is pausing in the sense that it will not convene. Let me see if I have anything new for you on that. I think it's been a couple of days since we have been asked that question. Okay. I don't have anything new.
Sources tell the Post that Biden's senior aides have been quietly scheming to get her to leave on her own so they don't have to fire her. Quote, "There's such a huge diversity issue and they're afraid of what folks are going to say." They're talking about Biden's senior advisor, Anita Dunn, and Chief of Staff, Jeff Zients. Now, how does Biden's very white staff push out the first black gay immigrant press secretary? Now, top Democrats are fielding DEI distress calls from the West Wing. Quote, "There was an effort to have some outside folks who Karine knows and trusts talk to her about why leaving last fall would have made a lot of sense for her in her career in an effort to encourage her to move along. Nothing came out of that. Then Binder reportedly received an unsolicited offer to become the president of Emily's List. But she said, no, I'm staying at the podium. The big guns then physically pushed her out of the way, forcing her to share the stage with National Security spokesman John Kirby. But she sucked it up and stood there while he took questions on the war. Another source says it's because she doesn't have a grasp of the issues and doesn't spend the time to learn. There's an enormous amount of work that goes into getting ready for briefings, and consistently, she does not put in that level of work. But that source says Binder's confident regardless. Quote, "She thinks she's really doing a really good job and thinks the president wants her to stay. So she's lazy and delusional. Not my words, theirs."
Yes, now you can clearly understand why If you are a White House correspondent and asking difficult questions, you will never be called up simply because she is not having a response to your question. Everything here is fake. She's coming with a response and she knows the question they will ask. I don't get the point. It is the same thing with President Biden. When Biden is going out, he's having the reporters he's going to call, and the kind of question they are going to ask, when you ask, he read out.
91% of African Americans voted for Biden and will continue to vote for Biden if Kamala is his running mate. I would be very careful, President Biden, about getting rid of Kamala Harris because we will not support you.
Wait a minute. Hold up. No, your opinion is valid and beautiful and all of that. But when was the last time you saw anybody get rid of a vice
Nobody
president?
dumps the. That's the thing. It's a lot of Washington speculation.
No, it's not something you would do.
If it was Biden and Trump.
If Biden gets rid of Kamala Harris and inserts someone else, he will lose the black vote.
Yes, we all know what Karine has been doing, lying to the people, not answering questions when necessary, and even people in this administration notice it, like, what is going on? Now they want her to quit. There was a coup that went on, though it failed at a certain point.
Thanks, Karine. The House Speaker is heading to Colombia today. He's calling on the President of Colombia to resign. Does the President share that view, and what does he think of the way that the administration at Colombia has been handling this?
So I'm going to be really mindful. Columbia is a private institution. We've been very consistent here about not commenting on personnel matters. That's something for Columbia University, obviously the board to speak to, and the president, right, to make that decision. So
Frail that he's transparent, right? And he's so transparent to the point where the White House press secretary accidentally tweeted at him from her account. You saw that, yeah, right? Which is wonderful. I love when that happens because, like, thank you. I was wondering, and now I know. You know, I was really confused. I kind of had a feeling it was you. You know, and is there ever been a worse White House press secretary? How did she get that job? She's so bad at convincing people. There's a bunch of like hardcore, ideologically driven, left-wing pundits that are on YouTube that could do a way better job. And they would be psycho about it. They would be psycho about it, and the left would be like, like, she's not the one. Like, she's terrible at it. She gets called out for stuff all the time. She gets set up for stuff all the time.
It's what, and look, this is again a kind of brass tacked way of talking about it, but it's what happens when you put identity over competence.
Yeah.
Everyone knows, like, explicitly, and then when you hire someone, it's a big celebration of all the different intersectional identities the candidate has.
Yeah.
You know, this is our first, black, female, I don't know, LGBTQ, not really sure.
Yeah.
And so the problem with that, though, is when you're not making a decision based on competence, merit, excellence, you're buying into it at the front end on that different hierarchy of decision making, but then on the back end, you can't do anything about it. You say, well, you elevated this person for identity. You can't fire that person because of incompetence.
Unless they steal women's clothes from the airport.
She had this interview recently where she actually made it clear, like, it is extremely difficult. The job is difficult. If the job is difficult, then why not leave? Than to continue to lie to people on a daily basis. When real questions surface, for Karine to respond in such a way that can clarify people, she will always push back, like, I refer you to this, I refer you to that. That is what we have witnessed throughout here. Yes, I'm impressed that they are seeing what is going on. Diversity hires are actually sometimes incompetent. We have seen what Karine has been doing in the past, and even now, she is not changing. And these people don't want her to continue. When you go down on this article, Karine, who made history in May 2022 by becoming the first black and first openly gay person to hold the position, had developed the exasperating habit of reading keen answers directly from a Biden to reporters at her regular briefing, offering what her superior view as a less than compelling pitch for the 81-year-old Biden as he rated his re-election campaign. The de facto White House communication chief, Anita 66, the White House the wife of Biden personal attorney Bob told colleagues she had decided to call a prominent Democrat to explain to Gen 49 that the time was right to move on source to the polls. There were a number of people she asked to engage Karine, said one source who heard of the strategy directly from Don, whose role as senior advisor has been filled during the past 3 presidency by Jared Kushner, Donald Trump, Valerie. The source also told the Post that Don had claimed White House Chief of Staff Jeff knew about and supported the Cloak and Dagger scheme to push Jen out of the West Wing.